Hello, hello, welcome.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, sir?
I'm great. I'm great.
I hear a little southern twang. Okay, very cool. We're gonna get into all of that. You are awesome for being a guinea pig. I have been wanting to do this for a while, but it's been a while since I've had someone who is willing to come on, and it's not easy to get in front of people on in the Instagram streets. But we're gonna jump right in. This is just an opportunity to showcase members of both sexes. So we'll have men and women just talking about what their dating experiences are like because it's hard to really get into it with just a few comments on a social media post or something like that. And sometimes people just come across sounding bitter and jaded. We just want to talk to normal people having normal experiences. So I'm going to pepper you with a couple of questions, but they're easy, basic stuff.
All
Okay.
right.
Um, What's your credit score? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. We're gonna get to basic questions. If you're comfortable sharing your location, feel free to share. You can do as broad as the country, as narrow as the state, however you want to go. But where are you located?
Sure. So I'm in North Florida, South
Okay.
Georgia.
Okay. All right.
Uh,
Perfect. And do you mind sharing your age?
I'm 44.
All right. And do you have any children?
I have one daughter.
One
Yes.
daughter. Okay. Is she out of diapers?
She's out of diapers, thank God.
Good, good, good. Okay. My next question is one of the last ones. Have you ever been married?
I have been married, yes.
Okay. And how long have you been divorced?
Since 2018, so that's
Okay.
5 years.
Okay, so it's been
Hmm.
a little while.
Yeah.
And how long have you been single?
Uh, let's see. Um,
Just say how long
five
has it been since
five
someone could
weeks.
claim you?
Yeah,
5 weeks.
5 weeks. Yeah,
Okay,
five
so you're
weeks.
you're fresh out
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Okay, well, welcome back to the dating streets. I would say the water's warm, but it might be warm for the wrong reasons. I'm just teasing. Okay, so what is it that you desire in a mate? Like, I mean, just the basics, right? Like not the
Sure.
over the top, ideal, perfect, but just like basic package. Can we just start there with this base model? What does that look like to you
Yeah.
in a woman?
So, one of the key factors for me is a thinker, someone
Mm,
who is intellectual. Um, I like to explore. I like to read. I like to use my mind. So,
okay,
someone who's a thinker, someone who has a really good heart,
okay,
and someone who likes children, um, someone who likes to take care of their body.
okay,
Um, so, yeah, those are the basic, you know, fundamentals for me.
okay.
Yeah.
So question for you, as far as liking children, do you prefer someone who wants more, as in with you potentially, or do you want someone whose kitchen is closed?
I think it depends. See, I've been in both situations. I've been
Okay,
in a situation where someone is like, absolutely not, I'm not interested, and I'm like, okay. And then I've been with someone who leaves the option open, right?
okay,
So it's just kind of one of those things where we'll see how we feel in a year,
okay,
and we'll leave the possibilities open. I'm leaning more towards I think I'm
okay.
done. Um,
I was gonna say you're not like pressed. You're not feeling that baby
no, I'm not. I'm
fever.
not pressed, but I believe that if you find the right person, and you know, and they want a child, then I want a child. That's how I feel.
Aw,
Yeah,
so you're extremely flexible one way or the other.
I'm very
When I was
open.
dating, I used to ask that question and watch men sweat because they didn't know which way to answer. I'm like, "Do you want more kids?" And then because they never want to scare away the potential. That I said, "I don't want any more." Oh, yeah,
I mean, how about the truth? The truth is always,
exactly. Which is
a
why I
good.
try not to tip my hand. But it's just funny when They do answer honestly, and it aligns with mine because I'm like, I
Yeah.
want your, I don't want to be down the road and you're over here, babe.
No.
Like we need to be on the same
No,
page.
it's
Um,
funny though, because you know when you're in the heat of the moment, it's like maybe I do want a baby.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I have moments. I think there's something about when you're truly in love, there's just, it's kind of like that extension
That's
of that
right.
connection. So I
Yeah.
think that's the only part for me that would even make me pause. But you do get to a certain age and you're like, oh, I like being, like you said, we're out of diapers, we're
Right.
grown.
That's
You know,
right.
I just text my daughter, I'm leaving. Okay, I'll be back,
That's
you
right.
know.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to get into what is it like for you? Because I think it's easy for women to say it's hard because we're women and men play games and men do this and men do that. Oh, they said his accent is soothing. It is. It's very calming. You know, you can be talking about something and just people just listen.
Oh, I love it.
Um,
Thank you.
they're very nice. So, what would you say your experience is like? Like, I experience this all the time. I can't get past this aspect, or every time I think this is going to be a good fit, it's this. Is there something that's like a reoccurring theme that you see with women, or is it not a good fit for all kinds of different reasons?
Oh man, I think that for me, it's I run into so just by way of background, I like to be in a relationship.
Okay.
I don't like to waste a whole lot of time dating. And that's not to say that I jump into
Mm-hmm.
relationships, but if there's a fit, I want to explore it and I want to explore it exclusively.
Okay.
So, so I think that the last two relationships that I've been in, I've run into the issue of personal development being hard for them um, to explore.
Okay.
And and by that I mean, you know, I kind of put it out there very, very early that I'm really into personal development is really, really important to me.
Okay.
I think that it's one of those foundational things that, you know, you have to be developing yourself, whether that is reading or writing or seeing a therapist or doing something to improve yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that, you know, I kind of put that out there like, hey, if you're not really interested in growing, if you're not really interested in even exploring the possibility of growth, then this is probably not going to work out because I'm not
Mm-hmm.
going to be the same person in 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, um, that's how important, you know, growth is to me. Like, I don't want to be in the same place in 6 months. And so I think that for me, I've run into issues where they may have gotten comfortable
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, they're like, well, you know, he obviously likes me for who I am. And so
Right.
I'm just going to chill right here. And I'm like, no, you got to continue to, you know, so you know, I think that that's something for me to explore because it's not just on them. There's
Mm-hmm.
something that I'm doing that I need to kind of figure that out.
So my question, what does that look like? How would you determine whether or not someone is actively growing? How would you, as a boyfriend or a partner, know that she was or wasn't?
It,
What would you see?
so I would see, and I'm just going to come, you know, come from my experience.
Mm-hmm.
I would explore things like um, if somebody's complaining about their situation, if my girl is complaining about her current situation, um, whether it is, you know, her fitness level, she wants to lose weight. Okay, what are we doing about that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you know, my tummy is always hurting. Okay, well, what are you eating?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want to get better at reading. Well, what kind of books are you reading? You know, like I feel like if you can't really complain about something if you're not doing something to improve it,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you're not actively trying to fix it, then you know there's really there's really there's no growth there if you're not trying to grow.
Okay.
So I think that that's from my perspective, it looks like there's something that I can get better at. There's something that I need to get better at. What am I doing to improve that? What kind of action am I taking to improve that?
Okay. I can
Rather
understand.
than just, complaining about it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So now I'm probing so I can fully understand this. Now, those scenarios that you described, the woman's complaining, and I totally get that. My foot hurts. Well, there's a rock in your shoe. Take the rock out.
Yeah.
But what
Yeah.
if she doesn't
Mhm.
complain? Would there be an agitation there, or is there something you would look for if she wasn't complaining about where she was short in her life, falling short?
Um, is there something that I would look for in terms of personal
Right.
development?
Like that she's not developing or growing if she never voiced anything that she
Um,
was unhappy with.
no, I don't think so. I think that it has to it has to come from her,
Okay.
right? Like I don't believe in
Oh,
pushing that on
okay.
someone.
You're not
I
telling her
just
learn a
think
new language by
no,
next
no, no,
year.
no,
Okay.
no, 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 no. I don't believe that it's my place to say, hey, it's just a matter of, and again, this is just my perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if we're together in 6 months, I, I'm probably very different than I was at the beginning. And so if you're not comfortable with that, then there's a bit of friction because I'm constantly growing and I'm constantly learning.
Mm-hmm.
So if if um if I'm reading books, if I am going to seminars, if I am picking up a new language or anything like that, and you're still kind of watching Judge Judy, but you're saying that you want to do something different, then there's a little bit of friction there.
Mm-hmm.
And my response often is, you're more than welcome to do whatever you want. I don't, that's it's your life, but we're just going to have very different days. And
Mm-hmm.
so that often, brings some friction into the relationship.
So it gets so in that situation you just mentioned about the Judge Judy, she's complaining in that scenario, but if she's happy to watch Judge Judy, that makes her just so content, and you're going off to seminars and you're reading and things like that. Would that bother you that she wasn't demonstrating, you know, advancement?
It would only bother me if she says that she wants something different.
Okay.
If she says that she wants something different and she
You
recognizes that
want her to be about it.
and she's recognizing that watching Judge Judy is not getting it done,
Hmm.
but you're doing that every day, then
Okay.
that's the
Now that's
issue.
reasonable. I mean,
Yeah.
I could see a guy who's like, man, I'm tired of being broke. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of that. But he never gets up and gets a job. It's like, connect the dots, buddy.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think as long as you're not that you asked my opinion, but I think sometimes in relationships there is a natural want to make our partners like us because obviously we feel like we're
Yeah.
doing it the right way. And I think that's a huge temptation, sometimes, which is what I wanted to explore, which I think it's good that if she's not saying something, you're not saying you have to love books because I love books and you have to go to seminars
No.
because I go to seminars.
I've made that
Um,
mistake in the
okay.
past. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that's interesting. What things do you love in a woman? What qualities? Well, you did say that you likes children, takes care of her body. Do you have a particular body type? Do you like the lean, fit, or do you like a little bit curvier? Are you more of a plus size? A fan of
Um,
plus
I,
size?
I like more towards lean and
Mm-hmm.
fit. However, if she is, taking care of herself, if she's, um, not eating honey buns and stuff like that, because I'm a very health conscious person.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in the 80/20 rule. I eat mostly whole foods and drink water. So, if she is doing that and she's healthy and she's getting tests run and she's healthy and happy, then I like any body type, but I
Okay.
do kind of move more towards. I mean, I'm in the gym a lot. I do personal training, so I
Mm,
just kind of gravitate towards that type
yeah.
of look. Yeah.
Okay. Are you
Mhm.
comfortable sharing your height?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
6'1".
No wonder you're comfortable sharing. No, I'm just teasing. A lot of women, of course, like to be shorter than their guys,
Yeah,
so
I
it's
hear that a lot.
it's always interesting. Ladies, feel free to use the little Q, the little question mark, talking bubble, if you have a particular question. Um,
I didn't know
for
they were going to be asking questions. You didn't tell me
Hey,
that.
I get to filter through and see if they have any interesting ones. I don't
No,
even
it's
think
fine.
I asked you. I mean, I know your name, but I don't think I asked you
You
on
didn't.
here your name. Would you like to tell people what your name is,
Yeah, my
sir?
name is Robert.
Okay, perfect.
Robert. Yeah.
Perfect. So he is just a little recap for those watching. We have Robert, who is into fitness. He likes to eat clean, drink lots of water. He likes to improve my mind. She said, "Darn it, I love honey buns."
Yeah, I love honey buns too. I
You
love
could
honey buns too,
be
but not
his
every
honey
day.
buns.
Not every day. Not every day.
That's not 80. That's not the 80 and the 80/20.
No, no, no.
And so, by the way, guys, if you're putting questions there, make sure you put it in the queue, because if not, they float up the river of comments, and then I try to start scroll. It's just a mess. Okay. She said you look like a Robert. Not a bad thing. I like that. He is 44 years old. He has a daughter who is not in Pampers. He is flexible when it comes to children, whether he's going to have any more or not. He has been married, was divorced in 2018, and has been single for 5 weeks. His deal breakers are complaining about things that are fixable and not getting up and taking care of them or taking action. Was that a pretty good summary so far?
Yeah, that is. Great job.
All right, thank you. He said that they said you have kind eyes. Uh, and let's see, someone else has asked, you know what, this is so weird. It's showing that there are questions in the queue, but when I click it, nothing's there. And that happened to a friend of mine the other night. So it might be an error. So we might have to throw them in the river, comment
Okay.
river. Someone asked a question about your relationship with the Lord. Are you comfortable talking about spiritual things? You can plead the fifth on anything.
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
What's your faith? How would you describe your faith?
Um, I believe in the universe. I
Okay.
believe that there is something greater than us. Um, I grew up in the Christian faith,
Mm-hmm.
um, and everybody around me is a Christian.
Like Judeo-Christian?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. Um, but I just for me there are just too many holes
Okay.
in the Christian religion, um, and yeah, that's I mean I'm more spiritual than I am
Okay.
religious, I would say. Yeah.
Okay. How do you feel about a woman approaching? For example, let's say a woman saw you on this live stream and she said, "Oh, I'm in that area." Actually, I forgot to mention that as a recap. He's in North Florida. So if a woman was interested, do you prefer her to be super direct and slide in your DM, or do you prefer for her to engage on your page and kind of let you pick up on the cues? Where do you fall in that?
Yeah, I think it just depends on the situation. I've had my last relationship that was over a year. Um, that young lady was very direct. She was very straightforward. She approached me, and we that was one of the longest relationships that I've been in since my
Mm,
divorce, and
okay.
and she's somebody that I remember and somebody that I think about a lot. Um,
Mm.
and not necessarily because she was so direct, but she just has a special place in my heart.
Oh,
So,
okay.
um,
And that door is
yeah,
completely closed?
uh, who knows?
Don't
I'm I'm
don't
oh,
let me meddle.
I'm very open. So
Okay.
I don't. I don't close any door, but yeah, there would be a lot to work on
Okay.
there. Yeah,
Shameless plug, I do couples coaching. So, if both of you want to work on
yeah,
that,
yeah, for sure.
I love trying to help people understand each other because sometimes there's so much emotion and so much history that we don't hear exactly what's being said. So,
Yeah,
throwing that out there to you or anyone else who's watching. Do you have time for one more question? I've got you for
yeah,
about
of
5 more
course,
minutes if that's
of
okay. Okay.
course, of course.
So, the question was, what has made you fall in love in the past? What made you date someone and then go, this one right here, I need to be with her.
Um, being seen. Um,
Mm,
I I I was dating a girl who just happened to, be somebody who exercised, who was in the gym with me.
okay.
So, we started um, going to the gym every now and then, and she recognized something in me that I had not, really seen in
Mm,
myself. And she said that I kind of had like a bit of an alter ego.
okay.
I was something different than I was when I went to the gym. I kind of turned on the switch,
Mm,
and it it kind of that had not really happened before. It was something like somebody was actually seeing me,
mm-hmm.
and and she was asking the right question. So I think for me, I think falling for somebody is somebody who is genuinely interested in me and not just trying to be interesting,
I
right?
was gonna say, and not just interested in having a relationship,
Yeah,
checking that box. Yeah.
right. Yeah, they're not just interested in being in a relationship, but they're also not just trying to be interesting. Like they're truly interested in me. Like there's a difference
Mm-hmm.
between being interested and being
Right.
interesting, right? If you're, if I say that, I like to golf and you ask me a ton of questions about my golf game, then you're being interested.
You're showing
But if
interest.
you
Yes.
Right, but if you turn it around and say, "Oh yeah, my dad used to golf and he did a hole in one and blah 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 blah," now you're just trying to be interesting, right? Now you so there's a big
Examples are
difference
great.
there. Yeah,
Yes,
there's a big
examples are great to
difference
help
there.
people understand. In that same vein, what would you say for advice for women? And before you answer that, if you have any, but women who want love, I find it very interesting. I've tried to shoo y'all away, and it's just not possible. I have 46% male followers
Yeah,
because, I was so stuck. I'm like, my target demographic is women. I make content for women. Why do these men keep following?
yeah.
And then I
Why do you
thought,
think
well,
that
maybe.
is?
Well, I have a theory. So at first, I thought it was because, maybe they just like what they see. So I literally took pictures away. I just put text up on the screen and
Right.
they kept following. So I just started asking questions. I was like, why y'all won't leave me alone? And they said, one, we like to get insight into the woman's mind, which I never thought about the fact that it does start to show insight as I'm talking about problems and mindsets. But also, so they hope to encounter women who have the type of mindset that I
Right.
teach.
Yeah.
So I got to
Right.
figure out how to do a boot camp or something so I can just say, hey guys, here's a whole list of people who've been vetted for
Yeah.
you.
For sure.
And then the other thing was they appreciate the fact that I am adequately and properly articulating what they feel, and they know that hey Willie, they know that if they were to say some of the same things, they would be absolutely crucified. So I have a passion for speaking the truth, but doing it in love. To me, I'd rather be silent if I can't speak it in love. And that doesn't mean watering it down, in my opinion. It doesn't mean pandering. It just means caring about how you walk away from what I share with you. Because if I try to speak to you and I don't speak life into you, those same words could cut you down, tear you down, and make you feel like a failure. As opposed to if I do it in a way that says, you come so far. If you could just get to this space, I'm sure you understand as someone doing training and things like that. You
Yeah.
know, you could rip someone to shreds and be like, "Oh my God, how did you get here? How did you get to 350? Like, what are you doing?" Da, 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 da.
Right.
As opposed to going, "I can empathize. I struggle with this, and this is a struggle for me." So it's one of those things where it's like I can finally see someone actually saying it. And one guy just said, you hold women accountable. So, that being said, any advice, because I put you on the spot, do you have any advice that you would maybe give your daughters or sister or cousin or someone who is like, I genuinely want love and I just cannot seem to encounter it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm qualified, but
That's
I would say
helpful.
just based on what you said about, doing the research and trying to figure out why men are following you. I think that for me, um, I like I like women who actually study men. I like women who try to figure out, you know,
Interested?
how we tick.
Yes.
And I think that brings value to a relationship because
Yeah.
now it's really it's easy to say men are simple, right? They want this, they want this, and they want this. That's really three things
The
we all know those
basic
that
package.
saying, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot more to that. We are much more complex than society tells us. And when you can understand that there's a lot more to a man than what he's
Mm.
saying, um,
Mm.
and when he is in a quiet place, there's a reason for that. And so there are so many different complexities. And when a woman actually studies that, I mean, that's why I started following you. I was like, this
Mm.
woman obviously studies men. And
Diligently.
yeah, and so I think that a lot of women are frustrated because they keep going through this cycle,
Hmm.
but they're not stopping to study the man.
Right.
They're not,
Right.
they're just more interested in, you know, um, being in a relationship, like you said, you
Yeah.
know.
And I appreciate you sharing that. The irony is that it's self-serving. Like, I'm
Right.
not going to come out here and
Absolutely.
just say it was 100% selfless. I was motivated to be the best darn partner so that I could attract an amazing
Yeah,
partner.
sure.
And it is so cool. I'm 6 months into my relationship and I waited 8 years after a horribly failed marriage because I just didn't know what I was doing. Um, but it's so nice to be able to finally give to someone from what I have learned.
Yeah.
And, not to go into detail because I never want to put his business out there, but we had a really transparent conversation last night, actually. And it was so beautiful to see a man be able to be completely unfiltered, completely raw, and speak from his heart. To me, I tell women it's like the most beautiful gift because you guys have to be very stoic out in the world. You have to be on guard. Your head has to be on a swivel. So for you to come home and take all the armor off, take the defenses down, and just completely tap into what you're feeling and
And
express that,
express it.
that is
Yeah.
a compliment to your woman
Right.
because that's, or I should say it's a compliment to her that she makes you feel safe, but it is a gift that is being given. The same way when a woman is gentle and feminine and vulnerable and transparent, it's a gift that can be appreciated and cherished or misused and mishandled. And so I love that. And I love that he's exploring things that he's never gotten to explore. And it's like a kid walking in and going like, I'm not gonna get in trouble. Like, oh, I'm allowed
Yeah.
to do this. And it's
Right.
beautiful because I had this fantasy about a relationship that I knew wasn't a fantasy, but it takes the right person to be able to do that. And I said, it's where you speak with respect, you disagree, but you do it
Yeah.
respectfully, you fight fair, you don't call names, you don't raise your voice, you don't be selfish. He didn't want to go put shelves up for me today, but I wanted them put up. He did it. I didn't want to cook, but I'm going to do it. It's like you put yourself second, but if you have a partner putting themselves second, both of you in first
Right.
place.
Yeah.
But it's the other person. So that's where my
Yeah.
passion comes from. I just want women to understand you guys are simple in the most beautiful way, but then there are the complexities. Simple meaning, what I mean by that is you guys are so simple to please. What, from a sense of, I'm trying to say this correctly. You guys seem so grateful rather by the most simple things.
Yeah.
Because I think the bar has been lowered so much, you guys have learned to be grateful for the bare minimum. So in that way, when women learn to go above and beyond, it's like mind blowing. She's
Yeah.
cooking, she's a safe space, she keeps my secrets like a vault. You know, she's two steps ahead of me. She already knows what I need and anticipates. Um, Sorry to be on a tangent. The last thing I was going to say is, have you ever seen that show Billions?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
my guy is watching it, so I'm not totally watching it, but he you know, I'll be around when he's watching. And I noticed something that you said. Shout out to Allison. Hey, girl. I noticed something that you said, that men don't. What did you say? Men don't always say something. Or, how did you phrase it? Do
Um,
you remember what you
when
said?
they're quiet, when they come in and they're quiet.
Yeah, sometimes they're
Yeah.
quiet.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also know you guys don't always speak directly. So one of the things I find fascinating with the dialogue in that movie, that show, is that they don't come in and say things directly like, Robert, I am threatening you.
Yes.
Robert, I'm going to. They will use analogies and metaphors, and it's like this unspoken thing between the men where
Yeah.
it's like you're picking up what I'm
Mhm.
putting down. And I think you guys tend to be like that in relationships too, where you don't come outright and say, I do not like this, I want that.
Right.
But if we pay attention, we notice you tensed up, or we notice that you've never done that
Right.
again. Or we, you know, in that way, I think that we have to be much more observant versus a woman. We are going to break it down. We're going to tell you the color, the shade. We give you more details than you
Yeah.
wanted.
And by the way, I mean, that's not easy though, because it really is kind of like speaking a different language,
Yeah,
right? But it's possible, right? I mean,
if you
if you
care.
want, right, if you care and if you want a healthy relationship, it takes work.
Yeah,
And, I mean, people learn new languages all the time. So it's just like putting in the work,
I
you
like
know?
that.
Yeah.
And it's such a beautiful thing when you can start to peel back the layers and you truly can see that soul for who they are, because, you know, we're souls wrapped in a body. When you truly can understand that soul and you feel like that soul is starting to understand your soul, that is a beautiful, beautiful place to be. And I hope we have so many couples who are able to experience that, that I'm a
Certainly.
witness that it's possible. So, any closing thoughts before we leave? This was awesome. You were the perfect person to restart this segment with.
Thank you.
Yes.
Closing thoughts. I don't I just think that we as people, as human beings, we just have to be more kind. And we have to remember that, everybody is fighting a fight. Everybody is, battling something. And I think that when we get into a I like this person type of attitude, I possibly want to be in a relationship with this person, we forget about the human component.
Mm,
We forget about that this is a person, this is a human being, this is somebody who's going through,
yes.
all the things that everybody else is going through.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if we just take a step back and we look at our partner as, part of the human race, and this person has shortcomings and insecurities, just like
Right.
everybody else. I think that we can come from a very, very different perspective, and have empathy, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Empathy goes far. That was on my niceness was on the top of my list because I feel like niceness trickles down to so many other.
It makes a huge difference, man.
Yeah,
It makes a huge difference, especially when
absolutely.
there's friction. You
Mm-hmm.
know, how,
Yes.
how do you treat your partner when there's friction? Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, because if you can be really pissed off, my thing is I can be super pissed off, but I'm never going to lose sight of the fact that that's my partner.
right.
And at any moment I could say something I can't take back. I'm not going to say something I can't take back. I'd rather say I need to walk and calm down. or I'll say I'm really pissed off right now, but I'm not going to dig in and do something that can't be undone. And I think
Yeah.
that we take that for granted a lot, you know, as a society. I could just let everything out, and we give it the worst to the people we're closest to because we feel like, well, they'll bounce back.
Right.
But in
Yeah.
reality, we should treat them the most with kid gloves. So
Yeah.
I would like some feedback before we go. How did you guys enjoy the conversation with Robert? Did you guys enjoy this segment? If so, I'm going to be doing more. There is so much stuff I've been wanting to do. And now that I'm really settled in with my move, I can get back to work. I'm back to having an office space because it was a little hairy for a while there. But I'll do more of these if you guys like that. I have always opened it up to women, but women tend to be scared, or as they say, the young kids say, scary. So,
To get on
ladies, get your,
these like
yeah,
this?
people
Oh,
are
really?
very, I think it's nerve-wracking to be seen,
Yeah.
because if you're seen, you're opening yourself up to possible
Yeah.
criticisms and things like that.
Certainly. Yeah.
Although I try really hard to always create a space that is not meant to be titillating, although I want it to be entertaining, the goal is to present the person in a respectful way and have a meaningful conversation. Versus, I know some platforms, it's about getting a soundbite, catching someone
Yeah.
saying something a
For
little
sure.
crazy,
Right.
taking it out of
Right.
context, getting views, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but that's not going to happen here. So she said, loved it. Longer interviews, discussions, please. Oh, I love that. Very good. Very informative. Please continue. All right, guys. So if you want to have a conversation, share your perspective, it'll just be like we had a conversation. I was gentle, right? It wasn't too bad.
Yes, you were very gentle. Thank you.
Okay, good. So, ladies, gentlemen, go ahead and DM me if you see this tonight. I'm going to put together a form so that people can submit their stuff online because that's going to be a mess trying to deal with DMs. But thank you for letting me be a guinea pig. And thanks again for tapping in. Maybe there will be someone who slides on in your DM or suddenly starts liking pictures from like 6 years ago. That's the woman sport, by the way.
Oh, you got me blushing now.
I love it. All right, sir. Well, you have a wonderful evening, and I will see you guys on these internet streets.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.